Oh, can I get some light?
Brad were there with us, and Helen in the basement. Julie, do you want to say a few words?
That's good.
Yeah, well, about the tornado, we were all there for the housewarming, and it had been a sunny, lovely afternoon, and we had our dinner, and we were sitting in the living room, and Hershorn got up and went to the window.
Where'd you go?
And then you went out the window and we didn't hear
Dad,
any more.
Benji, you're muted as well.
Thank you. I think we lost Julie. She's in Portland, Maine. How about Brad, Julie's brother? Perhaps you could embellish that story, although it doesn't need it.
I hate to interrupt, but I do see that Aunt Helen is unmuted now.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Helen is unmuted.
Uh-oh.
You're in trouble now. Yes, we all went to the basement, and Cy discovered that Mother wasn't there. I don't know why. Anyway, he went back upstairs and grabbed Mother, who was standing by the sliding glass door, watching the neighbor's roof fly overhead. He pulled her downstairs, and she had not a scratch, although the windows were breaking all around in the house. When we came up into a dark house, Richard Schoenberg was going to meet us outside the garage door. There were wires down every place, and there were such strange noises in the basement. But we did make it up the stairway. And after we moved the dog, I can't think of her name all of a sudden, Benji.
Ringo, the collie.
Yeah, Ringo. After we removed Ringo, who was lying at the top of the stairs, unscratched, we made it out through the garage and got into Richard's vehicle. And then we realized how much of the house was gone. When we came up, the whole roof was gone, and when we looked up, it was all sky. It was rather unnerving, to say the least. And after that, Richard took us to our home, which was intact. I don't know what happened after that, Benji.
And Helen, I do remember we lived in the Howard Johnson for quite a while, and our favorite thing was to get a Hojo Cola for breakfast, which our parents didn't have the heart to tell us no to. So do you have any other memories of Arlene, Helen?
Oh, of course I do.
Are they able to see you?
Yes, they can see me. Can't you see me?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you, Chrissy.
I don't know why.
Aunt Arlene, Arlene to me, would take me shopping. And when we went shopping, she didn't rest until I had purchased quite a wardrobe of things. She also picked out my wedding dress to Maury, which she did without me. And when I went to try it on, it was, of course, perfect. And that was what I was married in. We always kidded on our birthdays that we were younger than springtime. Well, now, obviously, at looking at me, springtime and I are way removed from each other. And when I look out the window, springtime is removed. We have quite a bit of snow where we are. Anyway, Arlene asked me every year how old she was, because she could never remember what year she was born and what, excuse me, and exactly how old she was. That was our other standing joke. She was a dear, sweet woman, and she used to pick Julie up for me every day from school and take her to the shul when she needed to be taken to the shul. I was working at that time, so that was a necessity for me, and she always filled that for us. She was kind and then kinder could be. The courtesy of Arlene and Cy, many things in our life happened. We got to go on a trip to California. We went to New Mexico with them. We had numerous trips to different places with Arlene and Cy. They always had us for meals and holidays, and Arlene was a wonderful cook. We never got involved with any of the cleanup or any of the doing. It all just happened magically and disappeared magically. I think Julie probably could tell you more things that she remembers. I remember she loved the geraniums out on the patio and the dogs, the numerous dogs. Excuse me. The Hershorns and dogs were always one and the same. They were family members always.
But I will let Julie go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask her to tell how Uncle Cy and Aunt Arlene met on a blind date and what Uncle Cy said when he got home.
Oh, yes. Uncle Cy was set up on a blind date by our friend Stu Frankel, or he suggested it. I set it up. So Cy started to get very nervous about it, being a bachelor of 31. So he insisted that we go with him, that he didn't want to just walk up to the door cold. He wanted us to be there. So we did. Bai and I went with him to the door. And when Arlene came out from the bedroom, she took one look and she said, "I'll be back in a second." And she disappeared and came out in high heels that were probably 4 inches, which were very tall at that time. And she said to me afterwards that how would she know that I would have a 6-foot brother, considering my size? That was the other standing
I
joke.
must say that when I visit my Aunt Helen in Omaha and Lincoln, that there's always a step stool. One time I rented a pickup, which was a mistake. And of course, Aunt Helen, we needed a ladder, small in stature, but mighty, everything else. And thank you for being the keeper of the memories of many memories of our family. I'm going to skip around.
Wait, one more thing, Ben.
Go ahead, Jules.
Mom, you said that when Uncle Cy got home from that date, that he said,
"I'm going to marry that girl." And he did.
And on their honeymoon, if you can imagine, which I can't, they drove, I think this is true, you can check me on this, fact check me, Aunt Helen, from Omaha to Mexico City. They drove.
Yes.
They drove.
Yes, they did.
And who does that? And not only that, they get to Mexico City, one of the largest cities on earth. And she goes, of course, immediately to the beauty shop. Problem was, she didn't remember the name or the address of the hotel they were staying at in a city of, tens of millions or 5. So I'm not sure. I guess it all worked out. So again, great stories. I'd like to jump over to one Marty Finkel-Polis and hear a few words, and then anybody else that wants to jump in as well.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Benj. Gosh, I have so many memories of my Aunt Arlene. If everyone doesn't know, my Aunt Arlene was my grandfather Leonard's they're siblings, so that's how we're all related. And Aunt Arlene, she was my shopping buddy,
Not that one.
and we were able to. My mom and dad put me on a plane at 6 years old. Aunt Arlene was waiting in Wichita for me. I flew all by myself because I was so excited to spend time with her. It was the first trip I took on my own at 6 years old, and she took such good care of me. And she was just such a wonderful woman. I've had so many great memories of her. She wouldn't miss a celebration, a wedding, bar bat mitzvah, birth of our kids. She would drive to Omaha. Even as she got older in age, she would make the trek up here, and we'd be so worried about her, but she'd always make it up here for us and just made us feel so special. And just gonna miss her a ton. So thanks for letting me talk, Benj.
Benji, you're muted again.
Here we go. I think we have some California cousins on the call. If any Debra or anybody wants to jump in, please do. The left coasters. Debra, you're muted.
Yeah, I wish my mother could unmute. Mom, if you're listening, it's on the left side bottom. There's a microphone. Anyway, I wanted to say how sorry I am. But my memories of Arlene have always been just absolutely beautiful. She was the beautiful one in our family, inside and out. She would attend every occasion. And her presence in the room was very quietly beautiful. Again, I will use that adjective. She would be there to help anybody, and has always been a wonderful friend, not only to my mom, but to my deceased aunt, Jean. And I want to thank you for having this today. And you are probably all that she had hoped for. And thank you, Benji.
Thanks. Thank you. Preston Hershorn, a grandson.
From the left coast. Hi, everyone. Yeah, thank you for organizing this. It's wonderful. So wonderful to see everybody today. I love what Helen was able to say about sort of like leveraging Bubby to go pick up Julie when she needed to, because, you know, my parents also used Bubby as their free childcare for many, many years. And so a lot of my memories early on are pretty simple ones of Bubby and Gramps coming and picking me up from school. And then I always used to demand a French fry McDonald's, and normally that demand was met. And then we would go back to their house, we would hang out, we would watch some TV, we would walk Skippy on the golf course behind their house. And that was just like such an important part of growing up for me, was spending time at their house. I was actually thinking the other day that I have sort of like the mental map of their house in my head, and I remember every single room there. And actually, like, we moved around so much that I don't remember that. I don't have that mental map for any of my houses, but their house is like the one where I remember every nook and cranny. So yeah, Bubby was always there. She was such a caring person early on. I also remember sleepovers at their house when my parents would go out of town. The most fond memory there was that Bubby would always put pillows on both sides of the bed to make sure if I fell out of the bed, I didn't like hurt myself, which was, I think, probably happened later in life than it needed to. I probably was like 12 before she stopped doing that. But again, just like such a caring woman. And then, you know, as I went away to college, every few months there would be Bubby Bucks showing up as a little token of her reminding us that she was always thinking of us. And yeah, she was just such a wonderful, wonderful woman. Marty, it sounds like she was your shopping buddy. For me, I got to be late in life. I got to be her gambling buddy once or twice and actually drive her down to the casinos. I think we maybe didn't at that time realize how much she loved gambling, but I just like so fondly remember that road trip down to like a dingy Oklahoma casino. So yeah, will be missed. She was such an important part of raising me and has made me who I am today. So gonna miss her, but she's living on in all of us.
Preston, thanks. I think Preston's my brother Randy and Luann's son, and he had the benefit Randy was in Wichita. I don't think my mother and father Simon ever missed one of your ball games or anything. You were, because of proximity, you know, even though Sam and Haley are on the call, just by proximity at that time, you were the favorite grandkid. But I'm going to have Samantha have a rebuttal to that.
I might have been the closest out of I was the favorite. I was the most top of mind.
We're always trying to catch up to Preston. If it means anything, being the youngest grandchild, I'm the only one that doesn't have like a book with all of my pictures dedicated to it like Haley and Preston do. But that's okay. I think something that I've heard a lot of people mention is there's always a phone call or a card or newspaper clipping. She was always thinking of everyone but herself. I have a lot of, I know shopping and material things aren't necessarily what you use to show love, but I'm thankful to have some of those things still to carry with me as her memory. I love my Bubby a lot, and I'm gonna miss her a lot. And I'm glad I got to have her in my life. And I think also what Preston was saying, I have a very vivid memory of the house. It was always such a special treat to get to go visit Bubby and Gramps and play in the snow. And we used to have it was a competition. Whoever spotted the first bunny rabbit got a prize or Bubby bucks or something. I think that it was just fond childhood memories of being in Wichita. It was very special to be able to go up there 2 weeks ago with my dad and give her the proper goodbye that she deserved. It was very cold. I don't know if you guys knew, but it was freezing. But I'm glad we were able to do it. Bubby always loved the snow, so she got a little bit of that. You want to say anything?
Yeah, I want to say something. So, God, every single memory I have of Mom is wonderful. But I think what is really important to me is what Mom and Bubby, Arlene, did for our family. And she taught me and instilled in me and our kids several values, and that family comes first. And she was just adept at creating the family get together. I mean, she was the matriarch. She made sure she stayed connected with the intimate family, the distant family, and, you know, I found out people we were related to, you know, generations down the line, but they were all still really important to her. But even more special, she made sure that Haley and Sam and Preston knew that they were first cousins, and they stayed connected, and then they connect with their first, they stay in touch. And she always, everybody remembers her home as, you know, you remember every single room, Preston, but it was a home. I mean, it was all, she was always welcoming. When we would drive up there, no matter what time, it might have been, we showed up at like 2 a.m. and she would still have dinner ready for us. She would make it or assemble a feast or buy it and bring it in and make it look like she made it. But it was always so, you know, welcoming and warm, even if it was freezing outside. But, and then that they would all, she and Cy would always come down and take care of the kids while Benji and I would get away, or if we were up there, we could go, you know, have some time away. But, you know, she was always a great mom to me, and a great, great grandma, a great Bubby.
Thanks. Thank you, guys. Is Haley?
I'm here. Yes.
Haley, go ahead, please.
Okay. So as Preston mentioned, he was lucky to kind of grow up near my grandma in Kansas. While I was in Houston, my whole life, I was lucky enough to end up going to college at KU and getting to know my grandma as an adult. I was able to easily travel to Wichita from Lawrence. It was about a 2.5-hour drive. And she was always there for me when I needed to do laundry. I remember fondly bringing like 3 buckets of laundry, and I was there. I mean, she spent all day doing it because she would put like 5 pieces in each load. And she was very careful. And then when I cut my hand open, she traveled in to Lawrence to be with me through the process and the surgery. So I really got to know her on another level later in life. If you ever had a bad day, Bubby was who you should call, because I mean, you were always beautiful, always perfect to Bubby, and she really boosted your mood at any point.
That was true up until the very, very end too. Everybody was beautiful and everybody was
absolutely perfect. Literally within a few days before she passed, she didn't even know who we were, and she was just telling us, "You're beautiful, I love you." Like, she knew we were there for her, but she didn't really know who we were. But so many fond memories of Bubby. Like I said, she is just so generous. She would hear stories on TV about someone having a car accident or something, and she would send them money and be like, just nobody was a stranger. And she's like, similar to what my mom says, has instilled that into my dad, that nobody's a stranger, that it's important to keep up with your friends and your family, and especially your friends too. And so I think, and then my dad has instilled that in my sister and I. And so I think that's kind of one thing that I really applaud both her and my Gramps for teaching us. And that's about it.
Haley, I'm going to go to Kevin and Christy and the boys, and after you, can you remind everybody what you were doing when you cut your hand open in college?
Gosh, I can quickly say that. I was helping my roommate out freshman year college and was with some limes for tequila shots.
Oh, that's what it was. I didn't know that. Okay. That's memorable. Kevin, and you know, many dear memories, you know, with Marty and her dad and her uncle in Omaha and Council Bluffs, Iowa. Kevin and Christy, are you there?
Yeah, Christy will be back in a moment, but thank you for including us, guys. And I think everyone's done such a nice job, and Arlene really was so special to all of us, and she was constantly making the trek back and forth to Lake Manawa and Council Bluffs, which was the center of our universe up in Finkel, Nebraska land. And Arlene and Cy, and you know, even when Eli was a baby, you know, this is Eli's 16. She was still making that trip, that drive, that 6-hour drive from Wichita to the Council Bluffs to come see us and Eli, and it was just terrific. So, you know, I'll just tell one last story, because I know there's a lot of people that want to talk. I was fortunate to be doing business in Houston the last few years, and I got to come see Arlene about 5 years ago, you know, where she was still sort of able to sort of talk and have a good conversation. And so one of the things I wanted her to do was to FaceTime just like this with Eli and the boys, because she really had, you know, as they gotten older, had not gotten to meet him. And it went great. But the only problem was every time Arlene would see her own vision, her own reflection in the FaceTime, she was horrified because she had gotten older, and it reminded her. And so it was a very funny thing that she'd be talking, and then she'd glance and see herself. And she, of course, as we all know, was so pretty, and she still was till the end. But it was a funny, very Arlene story, because I think she was a mixed sort of family, her beauty, and it was wonderful. So I was pleased I got to see her not only as a young child, but also as I got older. So anyways, I'll let everyone else talk, but Aunt Arlene was the best, a special woman, and I think all these words ring so very true here to us. Thank you, Benj.
Thanks, Kevin. How about Tony and Adrian Greenberg in Oklahoma City, who are another neighbor along with Fred and Velva in Wichita? We were so fortunate to have such a dynamic friendships and Jewish community of all things in Wichita, Kansas. And then I'll get to Brad and Ruth in Denver. I think.
Oh, there they are. Tony, you're on mute still.
Tony, you want to unmute you and your mom? While we're waiting for them to unmute if they can, cousin Brad and Ruth Segal, dear family in Denver, very close, and go ahead, please.
Great, thanks, Benji. Hello, Hershorn land and Finkel land out there. My mother, her maiden name was Jean Hershorn, so she was Cy's first cousin. And I actually share an experience, I think, with Marty, because my first airplane trip when I was 6 or 7 was to Wichita, Kansas, to visit Arlene and Cy and Benji and Randy. And I was actually there for one of the tornado warm-ups. It wasn't the big one, but we all had to run to the basement because of weather. And Arlene was always amused that the only thing I brought to the basement was my airplane ticket. So I made sure that I could go back home after everything was destroyed. But fortunately, that didn't happen that time. I was fortunate to know Arlene and Cy and have a number of connections when I was a kid. And then in my adult life, about 20 years ago, I do downtown redevelopment work. So I was in Wichita working on downtown Wichita, and they're just wonderful. They're wonderful to me. And I'll just end by saying that my memories of Arlene is just such grace, such kindness, such sincerity in really wanting to know about me and what was going on. And that all that love and all that stability that Arlene and Cy had was so foreign to me. I grew up in just sort of a whirlwind of dysfunction. So I got a lot of inspiration from Arlene and certainly Cy and Benji, Randy, the family. Our thoughts are with you on this. And Ruth?
Well, I was just going to say, I married into this family and don't know very many of Brad's further out relatives. I've gotten to know Benji and Julie and the kids over the years. And Arlene would call and just to talk. And I would be on the phone with her for an hour, just shooting the breeze. And it was just like having another girlfriend, because we had Brad and I had 2 boys. So having another girlfriend, girl in the family was really fun. So I have very, very warm, fond memories of the times that I've spent with Arlene.
Thanks, you guys. Tony and Adrian, are you guys unmuted? Still having technical problems there. I'll throw one more out and then it kind of open it up. I will say what Brad said is, I've had some opportunities to be with groups and hear the travails of life. And I always tell people, kind of like Brad said, our upbringing was not perfect, but it was a lot more like a Norman Rockwell painting than not. And so we're very grateful for that. And so I don't know that that's, it's wonderful. Brad Krasne in Kansas, do you have anything you would like to say?
Yeah, Benj. Thanks for including me in this, first of all. Like we talked about at your mom's funeral, I've known since I was younger all the things that your folks did for my mom, my sister, and I when my dad died. They kind of bailed us out when we came to Wichita, we lived with you guys for a while. They helped us out over the years, included us in activities and vacations, and just in general, helped us all out. You know, they were there for my mom when she got remarried. They helped me when I moved back here. I had a place to stay while I looked for practice. When I was in high school, I lived with you guys for a year. They were just always there to help. And I want you guys to know that I know what they did and that I really appreciate what they did. Your mom and your dad were good people, and I'm glad they were part of my family. Thank you.
Thanks, Brad. I'll open it up. I want to say a couple things. I've been in Houston, got to Texas as fast as I could. My brother Randy's listening in, and many others. And we were part of, Sam and I were up for my mom's burial service in Wichita, Orthodox synagogue. And my practice is not that now. And I was in the synagogue, I think 114 years now. There we were in the sanctuary. We fled there. The chill factor during the burial service was 15 below. Rabbi Pepperstone, Wichita, mustered a Minyan, so we could say Kaddish. There was a few of my Hebrew school mates, 2 or 3 of them, including Brad. It looked more like a deer hunting blind than a burial ceremony, a funeral, because it was so darn cold. People had hunting coveralls on, but we got it done. And I think the rabbi said the risk of going on too long was not just boredom, but was frostbite. So it was another memorable event.
You almost got
So
you almost got frostbite.
I did, and I tried to record a eulogy outside without a glove, and it was a bit tough. But Sam and I did go into the sanctuary, and we at Ahava Achim Synagogue, where Brad and I had a double bar mitzvah. The light over the ark is donated in honor and was at the dedication of the synagogue by my grandmother Lillian. And I know Fred and Velva were active, and many others in the synagogue. So that legacy, and my mom's legacy of community service, she was actually head of large gifts along with Adrian Greenberg at Federation. And I forget these things, but this is what I learned, and the example from both my mother and father. And I think that Alzheimer's is a very cruel disease. Many of us have endured it, and we forget the essence and identity of those that have suffered it for a long time. But the gift of this Shiva is incredible to all of us, and to me personally, and the girls and everybody, our family, and to remember Arlene as she was, a shining light, example, and generous. So I think that, you know, of course, anybody, I think Rabbi probably has, I'm not sure his schedule, Purim tonight, but you know, we're all welcome to stay on. Anybody else that wants to say anything? I saw Karen, my significant other. I wish she would have known Arlene to be the vital woman that she was. Karen also endured the path of dementia with her mother. And so at any rate, it's certainly wonderful to remember, and will continue to honor her legacy as we should. So of course, anybody else that wants to jump in, please do.
Benji, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. It's Tony. I finally figured out how to use my get on a Zoom call. But anyway, sorry for the delay, but I just briefly wanted to say, what a, honor it was to grow up near you guys, and how nice your mom and dad were to me. That it was like having a second set of parents. But the best thing for me was they wouldn't spank me. So, your mom was always so nice, and your dad too. But, and I know you've instilled those values in your daughters, and it's just been I know it's sad, but what a life well lived by your mom. And anyway, just wanted to thank you for including me, and, and may she rest in peace.
Thanks, Tony. And Tony, and I have had the opportunity in the last few years to reconnect with many of the people on this call from coast to coast. Thank you. And that's awfully important. If any of us have relatives or friends, particularly after COVID, reach out, go visit, and connect and reconnect. Lisa, Herman, do you want to say anything?
Yeah. Hey, Randy. Yeah. Your mom, when I was a young kid and hanging out with you and your brother and your folks up Northern California, my Aunt Jean and Uncle Nate's home. And I have a lot of memories of that, and then other meetings thereafter of your mom. And it's always without exception, your mom, the kindness, just always, as a little kid, kids have this sense. I think kids and animals, they know who good people are and kind people are. And your mom was this elegant, beautiful woman, but also just elegant and kind, so much inside. And it was always just a pleasure hearing her name or hearing about her and being in her presence.
Thanks.
This is Haley. I wanted to say one thing. I know with COVID, and I'm sure a lot of people are going through the same challenges. It's easy to take the easy way out when someone passes away. And my dad has gone above and beyond to give my grandma what she deserved, which was really getting to be buried in Wichita next to her husband despite the distance, and having everyone or some of the family is very last minute Zoom into the funeral, and even setting up this this Zoom call today. Also, thank you, Rabbi Teller, for being here as well. But I just want to thank him for really taking the time to put all of this together. I know that she deserves it, and it's also a great opportunity for all of the family to come together and see each other, because we haven't seen each other in so long.
That's beautifully said, Haley. I think those of us that are in Houston, I see dear friends, and Jack and Eleanor Goldberg in Seattle, our neighbors from Valkeith, and our community at Brish Shalom, and of course, JFS. It's great comfort to be part of a community. Hi, Hans and Marge and whoever else I'm forgetting, and Jeff and Nikki, and you name it. And so thank you to everybody. And it's a tremendous, and I think Belinda, I hope I'm
Benji,
missing him, but thank you. So
Benji, I would like to say something, if it's okay. I, of course, did not know your mother, and I didn't know anything about her. So I'm really grateful to be on this call and to hear about her amazing life. But I think I could have scripted the call because I know you and have the pleasure of working with you and knowing you and seeing the kind of human being you are and how kind you are, and your essence must be a lot of what I'm hearing about today. And so I just want to say that I can see she will live on because she's definitely living through you and your girls. And thank you for letting us be here with you.
Thanks, Linda. Thanks so much. Anybody else would like to say anything, please?
I'd like to say just a little something else. One of the things that I always appreciated about Aunt Arlene, one of the many, many things, was that when she taught to me, or when she spoke with anyone, whether she knew them well or she didn't, she was always truly interested in hearing about them. She never spoke about herself very much. She asked a lot of questions, and she always made you feel like you were special. She always made you feel like she wanted to hear what you had to say. If she asked you a question and you answered it, she wasn't just being conversational. She would ask you a follow-up question. She really cared about people and wanted to hear from them. And she could make anyone feel special. She made me feel special. On a lighter note, several people have mentioned shopping. I hate shopping. I have always hated shopping, but I was the only little girl in this family at that time. And my life with Aunt Arlene was shopping. And we would go and she would pick out several things. And she would ask me if I liked them. And I would say, no, not really. Not really my style. And she'd say, well, let's just try it on. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to try it on. And before long, I would try these things on. And for those of you that know me well, you know that when I would come out of the dressing room and she would say, you look darling, that was the last thing I wanted to hear. And she would enlist the help of the sales lady, and they would both stand there and tell me how darling I looked in those clothes that I didn't like. And then she would say, we'll take them. And they would wrap them up and they would go home with me. Those are fond memories with Aunt Arlene. I still hate shopping.
I appreciate your honesty. And Julia, again, lives in Portland, Maine, and is a vet and helps take care of all those animals. And I will say in closing that we all have our part. My brother, Randy, and sister-in-law, Luann, I mean, they deserve special recognition. They're listening. They couldn't be on the Zoom. They really cared compassionately, diligently for my mom's everyday needs. And it's not easy. And so we all have our part. And so they deserve, a lot of recognition. And she was loved and honored, and despite her disability. And we're hopeful that medical science will find an answer to that. So I love everybody. Thanks, Rabbi Teller, and everybody for being on. It's very special to us. And I hope to see all our family and give you a hug and friends soon. I can't wait.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've heard so many beautiful characteristics and qualities, the elegance, the charm, the beauty, the kindness, the inclusion. It's just been really uplifting to hear all these attributes, and it's my prayer. And I have no doubt that all these characteristics are within you and your family, as you've heard. but also the rest of us have now had some exposure to Arlene's beauty. And so may we all take upon a little bit of that beauty in the world, and make it a little bit better in her memory and in her honor. And may you continue to be comforted among the mourners of Zion. And thank you all for being here. And you can continue on and schmooze if you'd like. We can continue with informal schmoozing, but that concludes our formal Shiva. And thank you all for being here. Benji, we love you.
Thanks, Rabbi Teller. Thanks, Vicky.
Benji?
Yes.
Hey, Mom wants to say something. Now that I figured out how to use this, you can't
Bye,
keep
Adrian.
us off.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Benji, you've done a wonderful job putting this together.
Wait. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can, thank you. Go ahead.
Well, you have, and I've loved seeing everybody that I knew years ago, and especially Fred and Velva. I've not seen them in so many years, but everybody, and it brings back fond memories. Your mother was just lovely and beautiful, and I can't think of anything particular, but I always love seeing her and being with her. And thanks, Benji. Thank you.
Well, I had the pleasure of, on the way to Wichita, Sam and I got to have dinner with Ronnie, Adrian, and Tony. And dear, all these people were so fortunate to have, such dear friends and the connections. And Adrian is well known as one of the biggest sports fans, with not one, not two, but 3 giant large screen TVs, so she can watch 3 sporting events at once and make bets on them. I hope you're in the winning column, Adrian. So we always enjoy.
So do I.
and Helen Klein, who I wish you could unmute, Helen. Lower left-hand corner, the little microphone, if you click on that. Helen, another cousin, California cousin, I think is 98, and we talk frequently. And, daughter here, and, what a shining light. And again, it's so nice to reconnect, and thank you for coming. I wish we could hear from you.
Benji, if I could prompt my mom. Hey,
Yes.
Mom, lower left of your computer screen, take the cursor and over to the lower left, and you'll see the microphone with the slash through it. Okay, you did it. Do it again. Do it again. Just go back to the microphone and take the slash off. Click the microphone, lower left.
There you go. This is the highlight of the call. That's
You can hear me?
Yes.
I just want to say that the legacy, the biggest legacy that Arlene can leave, does leave, are Benji and Randy and Haley and Samantha and Preston and their spouses, whoever has a spouse. I think that that's the best thing that she leaves. And she and I had wonderful phone conversations. We didn't see each other very often after so many years, but we always spoke on the phone about everybody and everything, good and bad. And we had such good times together. And she had a quiet elegance, I say, that wherever she went, she was noticed, and not wanting to be noticed, but there she was. She was always such a lovely, lovely woman. Never forget her. And that's it.
Thanks. I guess the pressure's on. She set quite a high bar. What a high bar, and for all of us, Preston and
Benji.
So
Benji.
Yes.
Can you hear me? It's Hunt. Talk louder. Benji, I didn't know your mom either, but knowing you as we do, she must have been one hell of a wonderful person. So I just want to share that feeling about you with everybody, because obviously she does leave a beautiful legacy with you and your family.
Thanks, Hans.
We're thinking of you, Benji. We love you, and we appreciate being included with your family.
It's great, and thanks so much for everybody being here. And I think we'll see everybody soon. Go ahead, Velva. Yes.
Yeah, I want to ask you, do you happen to have a picture around of your mother?
I do. I will. I wish I could share it.
Didn't
But
know her, huh?
let me
What?
see if I can share it. Let's see.
She was so lovely.
Oh,
I'd
she
like
put it-
to
they had a picture of her.
Adrian, I'm so happy to see you too. Adrian,
Hi.
That's
so
Velva.
happy to see you.
Thanks, Velva.
I don't know if she can hear
You too, Tony.
And I'm the unknown friend.
Thanks, Velva.
Thank you. Thank you. It was great fun to see you.
And I, of course, have so many memories of Fred and Velva. And I speak with Bob, their son, frequently, and Julie and Philly. And again, our parents left quite a legacy for us to connect to. So, Velva, I'll dig up a picture and send it to you.
She really would like
Well,
to see
I
that.
wanted everybody who didn't know her to see her. I knew how beautiful she was. And so I just wondered if you had one around the room that you could show the people.
I have everybody's email address. I set up a tribute page to her in the Alzheimer's Association, and there's a picture of her. And so I'll try and send that. I'm not a tech wizard here, so at any rate,
You did good today, and you're doing good with the real abilities. You're wonderful.
thank you. Thanks. Mercifully, it's almost over, and I mean, our whole idea is education and awareness, and we're trying to do our bit.
Benji, this is very good. Feel like we know your mom now, and it's great seeing you and the girls and Julie, and all of our Houston neighbors we haven't seen in a long time. Great to see people.
Jack lived next to us on Valkeith, and Jack's an engineer, and when anything broke at my house, our house, my first stop was Jack's. When he moved to Seattle to be close to his kids, it was the house, there was a lot more deferred maintenance. So.
We miss y'all. Enjoy seeing pictures.
Hi, Eleanor. We'll see everybody soon. Thank you. Thanks for the support and encouragement and the memories. It's
Thanks, Benji. Well done.
Hi, Goldbergs and Benji. We love you.
Thanks.
Yeah, same here. It's good to see everybody.
Take care.
Well, I've already said.
The Rubens, I just want to see pictures.
What are you doing? You're just.
Bye, and Helen.
We're here.
Bye.
Nice
Thank
to
you.
see everybody. Thank you, Benji.
Thank you, Benji. And bye, cousins that I really haven't met yet. Love you all.
Soon. We'll get out there.
Thank you, Benji. My heart is with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.